Before I dive in, if you wanted to connect with me, talk to me, message me, I get a Discord server. It's the top link in the description. Feel free to join. Now, a lot of people will set goals. They will set big goals. They will set audacious goals. They will set goals that will change their lives. And the second that they run into any form of resistance, they stop. Have you ever thought about why? Have you ever considered the fact that people, when they set these goals, are A, setting their goals from the comfort of their own couch, maybe they're on their phone and they're daydreaming, and that B, when they set these goals, they only expect things to go well. They do. I've been guilty of it. You've been guilty of it. We've all been guilty of expecting everything to go perfectly when we set a goal and when we want to do something. Life doesn't work that way, as I'm sure you've found out. So how do you get around this hump? How do you get around this, things are going bad, I don't know what to do, I might as well quit? What you do is you lock eyes with what's the absolute worst that could happen. Genuinely consider this task that I am taking on, this mission that I'm going on, this thing that I want to do. What is the worst thing that could happen? Start there. So for me, I'm training for a marathon that I'm running this next month. As of recording this video, it is March 26th. I am going to be running a marathon on April 28th. I've been training for a while. When I started training, I locked eyes with the absolute worst that could happen. I tear a muscle while training. I tear my meniscus. Get runner's knee, my Achilles goes out. Something happens that cripples me to the point where if I do run this race, I'm not going to be running it, I'm going to be wheeling it in a wheelchair. I could get hit by a car while I'm out for a night run because somebody was on their phone and not paying attention to the fact that I existed on the side of the road. That could cripple me. That could kill me. I've locked eyes with the absolute worst things that could happen to me. Why? Because then when those things don't happen, and in fact the things that do happen, I'm sore, maybe I'm tired, maybe I need to eat a little more, or maybe I'm losing a little bit of weight because of the extra calories I'm burning. Now that I've actually thought about all the potential problems, and I've locked eyes with the absolute worst that can happen, I'm leaning net positive from the jump. You can do the same in any goal whatsoever. Any and every goal that you have, any and everything that you want to do with your life, lock eyes with all the bad that could potentially happen so that A, you can plan for it, and B, you can accept it should it happen. Because the thing that happens, and I'll talk about this in another video, is that your brain will start churning out thoughts like a madman, trying to get you to stop when something unexpected happens. When you take on a new venture, you need to consider it in its totality. You need to think about all of the things that can go right, but especially all of the things that can go wrong. And you think about the things that can go wrong because it's the things that go wrong that stop people from achieving their dreams. It's the difference in opinion with your partner that stops you from continuing the relationship because you don't want to work through it. It's the injury that pops up when you're training for some big sporting event. Maybe you're running a marathon. Maybe you're getting into bodybuilding. Maybe you just want to get back into shape, but you get injured. And you give up because you think that injury is going to stop you from putting out altogether. It won't. It just slows you down. You stop in business because you made your first product and it completely flopped and nobody bought it and somebody called you a scammer in the comment section of one of your videos. And so you gave up entirely. That's what happens to most people. But if you consider all of those possibilities and all those different scenarios, what ends up happening is now, when you run into that scenario, you've already played it out in your head and you actually have a game plan. Or at least it isn't surprising you because you've already thought about the possibility of it happening, which means you can react without an emotional knee-jerk reaction, but rather with a logical, sound, reasonable response. Not a reaction, a response. That is a very, 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 very big difference. And a lot of people, when they first hear that I think of things at their worst starting out, I think of the worst that can happen when I get into something, they think I couldn't live that way. I couldn't possibly live with myself knowing every single day I'd wake up and the first thing I'd think is, what's the worst that could happen? But what's interesting about that is it prepares you for the day. It calluses your mind. And then when things do hit the fan, if they do, because very rarely they do, most of the time it's just your brain churning out possibilities that aren't going to happen. If things do hit the fan, you're prepared for it. Because again, you're leaning net positive from the jump. Instead of imagining everything going perfectly, and then one thing goes wrong, and all of a sudden it all crumbles. And you succumb to the impulse to quit that your brain pops up right in that moment. That concept I'll talk about in another video, but I think you get the thing I'm talking about here. My name is Christopher Strobach. I rant about anecdotal mindsets that I happen to have picked up over my, few years of self-improvement and study, because I found that they've been extremely useful to me, and my hope is that they're useful to you. If you found any value in anything that I said, all that I ask is that you use it. If you want to connect with me, talk to me, message me, again, that Discord server is in the top link in the description. Other than that, get after it, kick some ass. I will see you next time.